Great to see you here again. This is another video offered to you by the Ceuster Academy, and we are talking about finance, time value of money, simple and compounded interest. If you are here for the first time, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like it, send us some comments or suggestions and things you want us to talk about, and click on the bell button to be warned when we have a new video coming. Time value of money is very important, and one of the basic elements are in fact the simple and the compounded interest. We know about interest because when you want to have a loan or you put money in the bank, people talk about interest. And the simple example is that when you put money in the bank, you will see that after 1 year, for example, you get a certain interest rate. That interest rate may have been determined at the beginning of your contract, or it may fluctuate according to market conditions. Let's take $100 that we put in an account where we have 5% interest. In that case, what we get is $105 if we leave that money on the account for 1 year. Now, what we can do at the end of the year is take out the $5, leave the $100 there, take out all the money, but there is a magic trick which is called compounded interest. What happens if we leave the money on the account and we don't move it? Basically, we started with $105 at the end of the first period. We started at the initial period with $100. We got 5 extra because of the interest. And now we start the next period not with $100 but with $105. So basically we get, again, let's assume that we still have the 5% interest rate. Again, we have 5% on the total amount, which adds up to $110.25. It means we don't only have the interest on the $100, but also of the $5 of interest we had before. And this is basically compounded interest. And you may have heard the stories that when you put the money on the account and you leave it there longer, $1 can become a very large amount if you leave it there long enough. And that's one of the ideas of saving. You add money every time and the interest is compounded. Is it a good investment? Well, it depends. There may be better investments, but basically this is one of the simplest investments you can do that gives you a certain result. When you look at the formulas of the 2-year problem, we had the initial amount that we put there, the $100, which I call the principal. Then we have the interest. It's the 1 plus 5% is 1.05. And we multiply the $100 with that interest, and it gives you $105. Now we use the amount, the value after the first year as the principal for the following year. So we have in fact V1 multiplied with 1 plus the interest rate. And V1 we can replace by the principal, the $100, multiplied with 1 plus the interest rate. And now we see that we have twice 1 plus interest rate in our equation, which gives us that the value after year 2 is the principal multiplied by 1 plus the interest rate to the square, which in our case adds up to $110.25. This is of course adding, and the more years we put the money on the bank account, the more we get. So the parameter, every time we have the principal multiplied with 1 plus the interest rate, it's adding up all the time. So all these things together bring us a very interesting feature to save money. When we look at T periods, and 1, 10, 20 periods, we can use the formula that the result after those T periods, taking into account the compounded interest, is the principal, the $100, multiplied with 1 plus the interest rate to the T power. So we find the VT, the value after t periods is 100 plus 1.05 to the power t, and t can be very large. It becomes very easy to do calculations related to compounded interest when we use a spreadsheet program. And here you see a screenshot of an Excel sheet that I made. On the top you find the columns from A till M, and on the left you see the row numbers from 1 till 15. And what you find here in the table, first of all, in the column you find the number of years. The number of years I want to compound the principal over. On the top row you see the percentages, and you have to be careful when you define the percentage, because when you put there 5, it will be interpreted as 500%. And 500% is a little bit too much, so in order to have 5%, you have to either write 0.05 or you put 5 and you format that field as percentage, and it will be automatically 5% or 0.05. Now there is one very important element that you have to consider. That's the use of Excel. I'm not going too deep into Excel, but just I want to tell you here that when we select the principal on the top in the columns, the column D and E and F, I define the principal. So on line 3, column D, I find the name of the principal. It's not being used, it's just the indication. In E3, I have the value of the principal, and in F3, I have the currency. I can change that, of course, in dollar, euro, whatever you want. When I change the principal, the entire table will change. So basically, I'm using the formula of the compounded interest in every of those elements. And when I look at the 5% and the 3 years, I have to say there that my formula is the principal, which is in E3. E3 is a fixed reference, so I have to be sure that I put there the dollar signs when I copy this formula over the table, that the value will still be of the cell E3. If you want to know more, you have to look into some courses of Excel. Of course, I will give you some assistance in calculations later. The other thing that we have to look at is the interest. And here we are in the column H with 5%. It means if I want to use the 5% in the entire column, I have to fix here the row number. So there you find the interest 1 plus H $5 means that I'm fixing this value to the cell. But if I copy this cell to another, let's say horizontally, it will automatically adjust to the interest rate in that top line, in line 5. And then I take the power of the number of years, and the year I can find in the column C. So basically in the column C, I find the year, so I have to fix the column when I'm correcting, when I'm dragging that formula all over the table. And once I use that formula, which is in fact $E3, $3 means the fixed reference of the principal, multiplied with the interest rate, 1 plus H $5, row 5 is fixed, to the power $C8. When I copy this formula over the entire range of the drawing of the table, it will adjust automatically. And it's a very simple way to do the calculation. So when I'm looking at another year, let's say 9 years, and an interest rate of 8%, for example, I see that the formula is adjusted. The E $3 is still the same. The interest is changed. Now it's K $5. It's still row 5, but in column K. And we look at the years. It's $C13. We see that the C remained the same, but since I moved lower, I went to year 9, I find there the number 13. So that's important to use this formula, to use them correctly to do the calculations. Based off that, we can put the numbers in a graph, and you see the graphs here. Everything depends on the interest rate and the number of years. And we see the higher the interest rate is, the faster the increase is going. And that's basically the effect, even on $1, what the compounded interest does over time. Compounded interest is very important. We started from a simple interest, then we went to the compounded interest, and the compounded interest basically shows us how the principal, the initial capital, is growing over the years just by compounding the interest, by having interest on interest. This is the basic for the next videos when we are looking at different parameters and we want to understand how well is our project doing. You will see it later in the following presentations. I hope you like this one. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, or let us know what you want to know. Where can we help you? Ring the bell and we will get back in touch with you when we have a new video. I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Thank you. Bye bye.